My distrust for labels, though, on the outside was everywhere. My family and I would watch the evening news while I was in middle school, and we'd see one segment where they'd show fighting in the Vietnam War. Then we'd see the next section, and they'd show campus protests. We'd see campus protests in Berkeley, which was like 2 cities over from where we were living. How were the protesters labeled? We have a lot of baby boomers in the room right now. Do you remember the labels of the protesters? What they were called, anybody?
Peaceniks.
Peaceniks,
Radicals.
radicals. Give me one more.
It wasn't good.
Communists?
Communists. They were 18 to 22 years old. I was too young to know whether I thought the war was justified or not, but I had just watched a segment of the war on the news, and I'm thinking, these kids are 18 to 22 years old. They're just out of high school. They might have a dad, a brother, or another loved one over there. They might have somebody they were in high school with 6 months ago over there. And to have all of them were either a peacenik, a radical, or a communist, my young mind couldn't come to terms with making a label for every single one of them. Then on the other hand, the news would have stories about Vietnam veterans coming home. Remember how they were treated?
Not well.
Not well.
Remember, did anybody remember the names they were called?
Baby killers.
Baby killers.
Yeah.
What else? Anything else? Baby killers were probably the worst.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, a good percentage of them got a letter from the government pulling them out of their neighborhood, sending them to Vietnam, and they went there because they were ordered to by Uncle Sam, and then they come home to this. Labels. Everybody was being labeled, and no matter what you were involved with, this is what we're gonna call you. And I thought, it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way at all. And I never could figure out a good outlet until about 2 years ago. I found the Better Angels organization. And the Better Angels organization has workshops where they bring together liberals and conservatives to have a conversation that's facilitated by 2 nonpartisan moderators. That's where Greg and Kuyar met. Greg is an evangelical Christian, a lifelong Republican who voted for Trump in 2016 and is a proud supporter of Trump. Kuyar is a progressive from Iran, a Muslim who voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016. Kuyar and Greg met at this workshop. They didn't know each other, they didn't trust each other, but they participated in the workshop, they had the conversation, and they found out while they were not going to change each other's mind on politics, they were going to become friends. They actually made an appointment to go out to lunch. And the story is, Greg asked Kuyar a lot of questions. And they weren't tough questions or gotcha questions. They were questions of curiosity. Christian Greg wanted to know everything he could know about Kuyar's religion. And then they made a deal. Greg visited Kuyar's mosque. Kuyar visited Greg's Lutheran church. And their friendship continued. Next November, Greg is still going to vote for Donald Trump. And Kuyar doesn't know who he's going to vote for because the Democrat has not been nominated yet. But he knows he's not voting for Donald Trump. But they found something they agreed on. And they're getting together, they're in Ohio, and neither one of them likes or trusts the way gerrymandering is done. And that's an issue they decided there wasn't Democrat or Republican. It reached them at a level inside to where they decided to team up on it. And while they still want a different president, they disagree on who should be president, they don't disagree on gerrymandering, and they're gonna collaborate on that. So where does that leave us? We all have our views, we're all strong people, we all speak about our views a lot at Toastmasters. Who is it that you have to find common ground with? Who is it that you don't trust that you might be labeling a little bit? Or is there anybody you're labeling? How do you feel when somebody's labeling you? So I encourage you, I'm gonna give you a website, better-angels.org. Better, put that dash in, angels.org, and that'll tell you all about it. It even has some videos about Greg and Kuyar. You'll find out more about it. You'll find out where the next workshop is. And the next time you talk to somebody, or the next time you talk to me, talk to me. Don't label me.
Yeah.
Mr. Tyson.